Let's get it. Halfway through the season, City dropping points at home or on the road, it doesn't matter, after handling business for two-thirds of a match against Crystal Palace before you know what happened. The inconsistency can come to hurt the club later in the season. Fear and worry are not emotions I feel. There's no disturbance in the force. What I will say is our feng shui is most definitely off.
Many times when you have unstable positions with many players in important games last season, the half of the season, three-quarters of the season, the end, the core of the team was with these players that you mentioned in this new season. Of course, the word is not miss something, it's just to change something and you have to maybe a little bit more time to adapt. But I had the feeling so far was good. So I don't have the feeling that we drop a lot. I don't want the way you're playing or whatever. But you are a standard, so we lost one game in the last 6, 7, and it's a big disaster. So just lost one game.
Things have to be moved around, and you have to sit there for a moment, take in the vibes, see how you feel about the change over a few days, even few weeks. Who knows? You might have to bring something in, something new, to give that space the jolt it needs. How about this? A good sauce. It takes time to make. Preparation and patience is key. Turn the heat too high, you burn the sauce. It becomes acidic. Heat too low, the process moves slow. It starts to break down, gets all mushy unexpectedly. 5 points behind. We got plenty of season. 3 weeks in a row. I'm going to keep saying it. We got to be patient. We're going to find out what kind of dog you are.
I hate the most is when you don't want the ball.
We're making art out here, baby. Capitalize that
You have permission to make a mistake. You have permission to lose. You have permission.
And that's when we get big.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
Attack everyone and defend everyone.
I think we're forgetting the most important thing. We're forgetting about focusing just on ourselves.
But we can do better. We need to take the next step, and there's no better place than taking the next step here.
Show ourselves out there how much we want to win it again.
We win 4 of the last 5 Premier League, guys. 4 of the last 5 Premier League. Are we gonna do it again?
Don't ask me again about doubles, triples, quadruples, fifth-tuples, six-tuples, and seven-tuples. So
don't do it. Hey, welcome to episode 81 of Shades of Blue.
A lot of niggas debating my numero, not the 3, not the 2 on the UNO.
We are the most comprehensive show about Manchester City, covering both the men's and women's games, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. We make an art over here. Capitalize. Hey, how's it going, my homies, my show bros, my pod bros?
You know, we had a good recording earlier today with Hassan, so I got a lot of the venom out, a lot of the poison out, so I'm okay. I don't know that I agree with everything you said in the intro, about it just being totally cool and vibes. I don't know if I agree with that completely, but we'll get into it. But I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here.
For me, it's funny. It wasn't Prompt's intro that piqued my interest about how I'm doing it. It was the actual intro to the pie, right? Like the music and the quotes. And I'm just like, everything that those players and coaches are saying in those clips is like what we need right now. We need to be big. We need to, you do have permission to make mistakes. You have to learn. You have to, we have one for it. We're now 5 out of 6. Like all these things are still us. It's just, it's a low point, and you can't beat around the bush with it. It's a low, and you got to dig yourself out of the hole.
It is what it is. Before we get into anything at all, what I need for you to do right now If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for us. Show some love. Leave a comment on what you thought of the episode. Maybe retort to something one of us said. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, any of those streaming services that allows you to rate, we need that 5-star rating immediately. Please and thank you. Let's stream this Thursday, the most dangerous show about football. Matthew, aka Comments SC, will stop by, as will Liz Schindel, who does the game day socials for NWSL, and Sony M of Albion Obsess will be our special guests. No topics off limit, no thoughts held back. It's a good time during the Liz streams. Tap in, Shady Game. And then, speaking of FanFest shows, another watch along this time on Tuesday for the Club World Cup match against Urawa Red Diamonds with 3 most dope people. Vader Games. We got Mike Pisaris of previously of Perth de la Prem, RIP, and also Hwang Trong. I'm super excited to kick it with people. I pushed it in on X. I posted Vader, he's in Canada. Hwang is in London, I believe. And then Mike is in Australia, which it's going to be 2 a.m. when he's watching that match. That's what he does to watch the club for his love for the club. Shout out to them. It's really cool. And I think that 4 countries, 3 continents, it's being represented, all for a love from Man City. We love you, City. We see you, City. Your trips all around the world with these trophies are for naught.
I wouldn't even say that's just cool, Crunk. I would say that is like immaculate. Like that reach, that's truly global. It's not like it's in the Premier League in a country like in England and across the pond. It's like no, we're going the other way across the Pacific Ocean. So we're crossing both of these bodies of water, hitting up our neighbors to the north. Like that, man. The work you're doing, sir, we cannot underestimate it. We cannot undersell it because things are happening now. Big things.
Truly, the guests for a lit stream, they're gonna get crazy. They're gonna get spooky for people. We're gonna see some guests, and behind the scenes, I'm sure there's gonna be some people upset. We're gonna start off with Champions League, and also a match, a wet fart of a match, a draw against Crystal Palace. We'll take a look at the Premier League and chop all Premier League applause. We'll end the show talking about the Club World Cup match and Baby Blue Baddies. If time permits, we got some listener questions. Anyway, Champions League. Pep was asked if he wanted to win the match against Red Star, considering City's chances to go 6-6 in the group stage, which has never been done by an English side. He joked about basically, hey, it's never happened for a reason. Would we like to do it? Yes. But I'm not going to put our team in a situation where we don't need to be just to break this record. Starting at 11 for the Blues was Ortega, Gomez, Akanji, Stones, Lewis, Kovacic, Phillips, Grealish, Nunez, Hamilton, and Bob. Every player on the pitch needed minutes for some reason or another to get in shape in a low-stakes match, to find out if they need to go in January, or to be given a once-in-a-lifetime chance, a second chance, a third chance, however you want to put it. Who was the name in the starting 11 that intrigued you the most? It was a great chance for Calvin to change everything possibly, showing up and showing out in a match that could go a long way in his Manchester City career, possibly. Pep said last week he couldn't see Calvin on the pitch, yet this week when he was asked, he basically was like, I don't think he's going to go. We're looking at everything, we're hearing everything, but for the most part, everything about him or being asked about him is kind of tepid. We might be stuck with him, and we might need to see him in form.
For me, I think it's really a trio of players. I was excited that Gomez gets to start.
Hmm.
There have been some long talk about him now. Oscar Bob again getting more time, and then of course the youth product who's still older than Rico Lewis, Michael Hamilton. Like I saw that name and I was like, oh. Then I did a quick Google and I was like, oh. And so you got a little excited seeing Mans on the pitch. So that
Hmm.
made me
Yeah,
excited.
for sure. Be completely and totally honest. I saw the name, didn't have any context to it. I knew it had to be an academy player, and I knew coming into this match that it was going to be heavy rotation. So seeing a new name was interesting and exciting, just because it's like, hey, we get new players coming out here. But I had no expectation, didn't know anything about him, and he made a name for himself. He probably already did. There, I'm sure, are players or fan supporters who already knew who he was, especially if they pay attention to the academy. But he was a new revelation to me, and so it was good to see.
Hmm.
But yeah, to your point, I think seeing Calvin Phillips get a start, I expected it because, again, rotation. But um, he hasn't been able to find his way into the lineup for a very long time, and so it was good to see him, even if I did expect it. I guess the other thing that was maybe a surprise, not a surprise, but just seeing Grealish out there again. It's like one of the few veteran type players that are out there. Um, Almost was like, dag, what has Pep got against me that I don't get a rest kind of a deal. And that's in jest, joking. But it's like, wow, he doesn't get a rest. Um, so I think that was interesting.
He doesn't need a
Well,
rest, though.
I
He
think
needs to
you got
play. He needs minutes,
and
doesn't he?
maybe he's not going to play much at the Club World Cup. I just know that there's other games coming up soon. So I felt like in the game that didn't matter because we already won the group, so it doesn't matter that he might get a rest. He didn't, and it is what it is.
Interesting. Yeah, because I still think he's gonna play. Pep said, "No, we're bringing everybody to the Club World Cup. Everybody. We're bringing as many people as we can. This is something we haven't been able to participate in before. I may have won it before, but Manchester City hasn't. It's still the trophy I would like to win. It'll be nice."
I think something else about this before we get into the actual match is like the managerial work that it takes to prepare for 4 matches in like a, let's just call it a 10-day span, right? Because this match is on Wednesday and then Saturday, Tuesday semifinal, Friday final. Like, that's a lot, and really 9 days. So it's like having to understand who can go 3 days. Like I've heard Kyle Walker talk about playing every 3 days is actually great for him because you just keep going versus like longer breaks. And every player is different. And we obviously are trying to get I would say our two most impactful attackers in Holland and Daku back fit, right? We would love to have
Mhm.
them fit in Saudi Arabia. So Pep's management has been tested now, and that's what you pay him the big bucks for. That's why he's called the GOAT. Like all these things are here for you, and he's trying his best to see us through with varying results.
I don't even really want to dig too deep into the match and go play by play. Pep's subs did give up an immediate goal at the end. Red Star made the match annoying for the final 4 minutes of the extra time. Goals from Micah Hamilton and Oscar Bob make their first goals for the first team. Calvin Phillips successfully took a penalty. Shout out to Colby of Snobby Boys Pod, and G Certified for joining me for the watch party I hosted for this match. G Certified joked before the kickoff that this was Calvin Phillips' testimonial match. And when Calvin got to take the penalty over Foden, oh, we lost into the stream because that felt very much like a testimonial type of energy. Pep was even shocked himself when he was asked about it, but he's like, no, Calvin's actually really good at the penalty. Yeah, Foden was a little mad that he didn't get to take it, but it is what it is. What from the match really do either you want to talk about? Where should we start?
I mean, I'll just start with the goal. Like the Michael Hamilton goal out of nowhere, the type of strike it was, like that was scintillating. I was extremely happy. You know, you get the picture of him, Rico, and Bob together, which is this beautiful melanated, madness. Like it was a sign of like, oh, we do have another guy because we've lost so much in the last 3 seasons since we've been doing the pod, right? So much young talent has left the academy. It's like, okay, who is still there? We haven't heard these names. They haven't been talked up like a Borges or the little midfielders, all that stuff like the McAtees and all that. So it was cool to see somebody like, oh no, this is my moment. And Rico did the same thing last year when Rico played in the Champions League. He had that moment, that goal, that run. So it was cool to see another young brother step up and make the most of his opportunity. And I think honestly, Bob's might have been even better, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, going into this match, didn't know what to expect, especially when you see the lineup. It's like, okay, there's a lot of rotation. I think the players that the names that we know, you would expect to be better than the counterpart on the other side. So it's whatever. But there were some academy kids, and then there's the Micah Hamilton, who I had no clue about. And so to see him get the first goal early in the match on the 19th minute, that was awesome, because it's just like, came in with no expectations. You get an early goal. Now it's like, oh, we'll go ahead and win this thing. I don't know that I even cared going into the match. It was just like, okay, we play. Doesn't really matter. We'll just see what happens. And then when he gets that goal, it's like, oh, okay, let's go for it then, So kudos to the young kid. And it was a very well taken goal. Again, taking on players and getting that ball onto his right foot, putting it in. You gonna say something, Charlie? Go ahead.
Yeah, when you just mentioned like taking on players, it made me think of what Daku's emergence this season has done for that position, right? Like before in the last 2 years, it was Grealish, Mahrez, control, even Bernardo, right? Control, which is great in this one trophy. But to add back some of that flair, that style, that freedom, and going at players that we used to see with Sterling and Sane, and in those days, it was cool to watch. And I think Daku's the reason why you see those guys saying like, oh, he can do it, I can do it too. Like I got the same skill set. Like Bob played for the Norway national team. Like he's not just like a regular young player. Like he's up there with Holland and Odegaard. You see a kid like, or even Rico, right? Like we know how heralded he is. Like all those guys are confident. And when you have depth like that at a young age, it breeds competition. It breeds, the thirst to be like a Foden, to be like a Palmer, to be Rico, to make it up. And, seeing those two young guys come on and score in the first, like, I didn't expect them to both score. I expected us to maybe win, but I didn't expect goals to come from them. And so that was really dope.
One thing about our academy, they stay with some pacey, agile winger with feet. When you watch the U17, the U19s, the U21s, they always have. That's just what it is. Ball gets hit wide, shot, shot. It's crazy. It's those games, really. If you got some free time, and if you're bored, you won't be, because the pitches are smaller, so the pace of game is fun.
But that just goes to show, I mean, again, we have a profile of a player, and this profile player fits here in the way that we play. And so when we're scouting, when we're going and recruiting and bringing in players, you're not just bringing in random people. You're not just bringing in, the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. No, you're bringing in the player that fits this profile. And we've got it defined to a T. And the change will be as the profile starts to change. What is it that we're looking for? And how does that impact not who we go bring in, but who's already here? Do we change enough that the people that are here no longer fit? But to this point, I don't think that's been an issue. And yeah, I would. You said pacey technical winger. I don't know that I see them all as being super pacey, but definitely very, very technical players for sure. And I could be wrong just because you're just watching it on TV as opposed to watching it in person and really being able to see the speed at which these players are moving. But I don't know that I would call all of them super pacey, but again, it's neither here nor there, but that technical ability on that wing, there's just tricky wingers who can take you on, go left, go right, and whose control is out of this world as far as touch.
Let's just call them agile. They're more agile than they are like fast.
Explosive.
Quick feet, yes, explosive. They're better in a good 3 to 5 meters than they are a long dart. That really seems to work for us.
It reminds me of the difference between, if you look at Arsenal, right, like Saka and Martinelli. Like, we know Martinelli has that crazy long speed, but teams are scared to death of Saka when he's on the ball 1v1 because his ability to dribble and explode either way is so dangerous. And I think our wingers are more on the Saka side of things, our young wingers, which is amazing, and it works. And I would say the same thing for a player like Phil, right? We know Phil isn't the fastest, but you give him 1v1, he has the ability to turn and go. So it's a great skill set to have because you aren't just relying on pace. It's not just pace and power. You can do way more with it.
Yeah, I mean, anything else in particular? Grealish, he got his goal, right?
No, not in this one.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you jumped ahead.
No, not in that one. No, we're going to the other one. Yeah.
I'm getting it.
It was just the three black men.
I'll say this
goals.
because this match was on Wednesday, I think, and I think it was probably had to go pick up one of the kids or something. Ultimately, I wasn't able to just sit down and watch the whole game. You know, the whole match. It's work going on, whatever else. So when I get my phone dings and I see that Calvin Phillips has scored a penalty, I'm just like, oh, this is just beautiful. They're just like, somebody's feeling bad for this man. Let's give him a chance, you know. And when I heard that, basically, it sounds like Phil kind of handed it off to him. It was just kind of like, I think what it says is the team appreciates who he is. And, you know, I understand that maybe this just hasn't worked out for you, but I still think, you know, I still got a lot of love for you. So, hey, here's an opportunity. This game is pretty much, you know, wrapped up. Go ahead, man. Get you some before. We know you may not be here long term. So let's make sure you go out on a high, if at all possible. I appreciate that.
And it represents the polar opposite feelings and vibes around Cancelo, right? Because we know he was a nuisance. We know he caused chaos. And the last thing you've ever heard about Calvin Phillips is anything negative about character, right? And the players understand because, think about it, Foden, Grealish, Stones, Walker, they were all his national team teammates before they were his, you know, club teammates. So they know the player, they know the ability, but everybody can understand, like, it just doesn't work. And it doesn't mean you're not good and you can't excel somewhere else. It's just you need a different system. And I think, like, the maturity there, like, Phil being wise beyond his years to do that, he didn't have to do that. None of us would have batted an eye if he just takes it and makes it or misses. Like, okay, it's still Foden, whatever. But to do that, that's a gesture that goes further. And that's what happens, I think, when you go through the wars together, you do all the trainings together. Like, because the thing is, you're only as good as your competition when it comes to training. If we were training against scrubs, it really wouldn't help us. So, like, they know what Calvin is still producing behind the scenes and, you know, all the things we don't see on the social media feeds. It's like, yeah, Calvin is still a baller. And that penalty was clean. I think on the pitch, it was crazy. He got like solid, 6.4, but I don't think he did anything crazy. Like, he's just not Pep's DM. And I wish him the best because we might not see him play again in a City shirt. So that was the last moment. That was a great moment for him.
Is that how you feel? You don't think he could potentially flip this around, turn it into something?
That ship has sailed. And we might see him at there's only 2 games at the Club World Cup, right? So we might see him just come off the bench if we're up decent, just to spell time and keep people from, getting hurt late in the game or something like that. Yeah. But I ultimately, I think as far as his City careers it's probably this ship has already sailed. Pep has already determined that this just isn't going to work. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't know that you're going to make Pep change his mind. So, you count it for what it is and you go to the next opportunity. You look for that opportunity and hopefully he finds one that works for him. And, we've not pushed anybody out, so I don't think that we would push him out. But hopefully he can find a situation that works for him. and it's kind of a win-win for all involved.
What I like, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I like how you put it, Sharpie, about Foden giving away the ball, acknowledging this could potentially be your last, but let's have that be a good send off, because really that's how I would like to see our fan. I know our fans, they've been killing Calvin a lot lately, but I wish we could change it now. Seeing this play, finally he did decent. He got a goal. Phil showed him compassion. Maybe people can back off and see him off positively. Finally, and it doesn't have to be everyone, but at least maybe some of the heat. Right? We can see him as a human finally, instead of just an asset, because that's how I feel like a lot of people basically treat him and seeing him as. Anything else before we move on to Crystal Palace?
Let's move it. Let's get to the good shit.
Mm. Crystal Palace starting 11 for Pep: Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Barrial, Lewis, Rodri, Silva, Foden, Grealish, and Alvarez. Didn't have the heart to rewatch the match. Even tried to watch the highlights. Don't care. Over the bitch. The club played brilliantly for 60 minutes and dove off a cliff for the final third of the match. It had everything. Grealish goal. Ederson yellow that we were lucky it wasn't a red. A goal disallowed because of interference. Tomahawk-sized silly steaks eaten by Walker and Diaz for Crystal Palace's goal. First goal. Pep's first and only sub happening in the 6th minute of 8 added extra time minutes. What? Rico Lewis being the one taking the interview after the draw instead of, I don't know, maybe the captain or any player older than 22 years old. Where do we start?
Well, I mean, if we start with the lineup, I'll tell you a couple of things. My thoughts were, I thought we were going to come out in traditional back four, which is something we haven't done in a very long time. So that was interesting. And then my questions were, where are the goals going to come from? Is Grealish and Bernardo going to contribute from a goal scoring, or goal contribution perspective, or is Phil and Julian going to have to carry the whole load? And then I think looking at the bench, it was okay. If we do need someone to come on and turn the game around for us offensively, if we need game changers, is that Oscar Bob? Is that Nunez? Those are the names, but are they able to do that role and impact the game like that? I don't know. So I was kind of. It is what we have, I suppose. But when I looked at it, I was just a little disappointed. It's just like I think that we should be better than this. And I know we got players out and whatever, but it's just like, who can you count on in those moments? So those were my thoughts before the game kicked off.
For me, it pretty much, because we did a pregame show right before, so me and Crunk were on Saturday morning, and it looked how I thought it would look. I thought it would be a solid 4-2-3-1. I knew Rico would be in midfield. I think I didn't have the question of where the goals come from. I was just thinking of like, will this team be able to hit the numbers that me and Crunk were talking about? Because we were thinking it'd be like at least 3 goals, and how would we get there? Not who would do it. But I think what's interesting is that when we look at this match at the end, there's a point I want to make about how the people were rated, at least, because I think that's very interesting. So I mean, yeah, like, do we go on to Grealish's goal now, Crunk, or is there anything else?
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Just thinking about the lineup and everything again. If there's anything, yeah. Let's go to the first goal.
Yeah.
Good for Grealish.
I mean, think about it. Like the pass that I believe it was Diaz who went to Foden. It was a defender or somebody who went to Foden, passed the ball to Foden. He passes it quickly, like one touch almost to Grealish in the pocket. And Grealish's finish was exceptional. Like, that's a striker's finish to get it off that fast, before the keeper could even react, really, and put it wide enough to the net. Like, it was a beautiful finish. I know we all got nervous when the VAR happens, the review, because it was so close. It was a 3-minute review. I thought it was an elbow, so a lot of people saying it was a bum that kept him on side from Nathaniel Klein. Whatever it is, thankful that it happened, because I think Grealish now, that was 3 goals in a row in Premier League matches. And for all the shit we give him, it's time to acknowledge when you have more goals than Marcus Rashford. I think that's time to be celebrated. Like, the key is producing. Is it top 5 production?
Hold on. No.
Get him, Tarek.
That's not
Get him,
get him.
Tarek.
I'm still
Get
tripping
him,
because
Tarek.
I think I just heard you say that Nathaniel Klein's butt was what kept him on side. And I'm just tripping off this because it's like, are we really saying that this man's backside kept him on? Is that what we think it was?
Don't
I saw people.
Dirk. Hey, don't drop that Dirk.
That's what I saw people tweeting about. Like, I thought it was an elbow from the first shot, but then Twitter was like, it was his ass. It was his ass.
I
And so I
like
was like, okay,
big
maybe it's
butts and I
cheap. Cheap
cannot
kept him on.
lie.
And, you know,
Yeah.
thank you, Klein.
I was just tripping. I was like, wait, did he really just say that?
I mean, I'm only reporting back what I read. It wasn't my opinion.
Some people
thought it
were
was a
saying
What they
tweet.
say?
He was taped up out here. Double teamed up on a Saturday afternoon.
Poking that thing out.
Hey, yo, toot it up, mom, and make it roll, all right? Mans is out here, okay? And that's what it took for us. We needed that. We needed that win.
Jesus.
When that goal went through,
Help, Lord.
I was relieved. I was excited. I was like, oh, we're dominating these people. 75%.
So
possession.
I actually expected.
It was just beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't see the butt in the moment, so I actually expected that goal to be called off. I really did. In the moment, I expected it to be called off sides.
I did too.
And was
They were just
I was
good too.
surprised
They were
when
just
they were
playing
just
for
like, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
go back and keep playing. I'm like, wow, really?
Because you see the green. When the green pops up and it's like on side, you're like, oh, it's going to stand. Like, I was in my living room going crazy.
Oh man! Also, shout out to the dive bar that I went and kicked it at. They had 375 craft beers. It was just one craft beer from a Chicago brewery. It was an IPA. It's good. I basically left with the tip, and it was 16, 17 and some change or whatever. I just gave them a bunch of change that was in the bottom of my satchel. Well, it was a good time. Great time.
So I want to just, and this doesn't lead to a goal necessarily, but there is a play, and I'm trying to figure out who played the ball. But they play the ball over the top. Vardiol is running towards goal. He plays it off his chest. Perfect control. Gets the shot off. It ends up being saved by Dean Henderson. So it doesn't go on the the scoring charts or anything like that. He doesn't get credit for it. But while we can agree that he may not be a left back per se, that play to me shows why Pep is playing him at left back. He has these abilities on the ball. He has this ability to contribute that not many defenders have. Quite honestly, I don't even know if John Stones makes that play. Variol is special, man. That dude is special. And that doesn't mean that he's not had his issues throughout the course of the season as he's learning this new system and all this other stuff. But that play was special. And I wish for his sake it would have led to a goal, because we would be hearing about it all over. But because it doesn't score, it's like, oh, it never happened. No, I saw something that was amazing to see in that moment.
To that point, man, I think, look, what Vardiol is, and we all knew we were linked with him. We knew he wanted to come. Like, we knew what it was. But what you see is what Pep, how he is now having the modern defender be framed. It's a bigger person, so it's the size of a center back, but you have those defensive abilities, but you also are basically playing wingback in a way. Like we saw Ake doing it a little bit. We know like Zinchenko did it from being more so like a midfielder to that role, but now this is really just like from the inside out. And because he's so young, being only 21, you have time to truly mold him in a way where it might catch on faster than if it was like with John Stones, right? Pep caught Stones in his mid 20s versus, and same with Ake, right? Caught Ake in his mid 20s. You get somebody who's younger now who's going to have at least 2 seasons of Pep to instruct him and like perfect this role and make it his. It could be the evolution of what we've seen John Stones do as the center back to DM. So it's really like he is the true evolution of city football when you think about that left back position. And that play stood out for me. I wish it was a goal because we would never stop talking about it. But like the technique, I believe it was Rodri who made the cross, the long ball in. I think coming from that right over the top, it was perfect done. You just wish you could have got a goal off of it, but we were rolling in that first half. Like there was no like we got make it to halftime because there were no more goals. Right, like the first half was perfect for city football. I was like, okay, we are on our game now.
Halftime. I want to say, I'm pretty sure it was just before halftime. The Ederson.
Oh, the Ederson chance.
If this.
Yeah, that was.
I think he should have gone. Being honest, I think he should have gone.
It was a red.
No, once he got outside the box, he's just an outfielder, and that would be a yellow.
No, but he's denial of goal scoring opportunity. He's the last defender, and he basically takes that man out, and basically to try to break up the scoring chance. If he were anyone else, he probably would have gone.
Hard. If that's a City player who got fouled like that,
absolutely.
I want that keeper. Yeah, I want a red card. Like to make it fair. Fair is fair. Like we got off. We got off really like.
Oh, 100%. And I'm shocked because this same exact play has happened to Ederson before, and he's been sent off every time. So that's just why. Actually, now that I think about it, there have been a couple times where he's gotten away with it. Actually,
I think he was bored, bro. Like,
I mean, yeah,
he literally because Diaz was in decent position, like enough position to where if Ederson stays on his line, Diaz can force a tough ankle shot, right? But it wasn't like Diaz was beaten; he just wasn't in front of him. He was right, almost shoulder to shoulder, a little bit behind. So it's like he could have made a sliding tackle. Like there was work for Diaz to do, but Ederson took it upon himself to say, "Hey, I haven't done shit all match. They only have the ball 25% of the time. They still hadn't had a touch in the opponent box." Because that was outside the box, right? Like Ederson was just like, my concentration level's low. I just need action right now. He went die hard, and it almost died.
I got this. Yeah. I got this. Oh shit, I know about this. Yeah, and then out a half. That was a good feeling. I was really just cooling. I don't remember much of this match because I was super happy and things were going well. I thought we were going to keep running it up, and next thing you know, it's falling apart, and we are where we are.
Well, let's do the last bit of joy, right? Like the Rico goal, that whole sequence, the build up to that goal to start the second half is exactly like how you want the first 10 minutes to go coming out of halftime, right? Like we kept going on the ball. They had their little push towards the end of the first half, but we were able to restart fresh, and we were going at them. And finally, I believe it was Rodri and Rico, right, who were like side by side as it came down. Like we put the pressure on their defense, and Rico was able to slot it home. And I thought that was a really dope moment for his first Premier League goal. Gave him the title Little Rico. Little Rico was out here.
And then the minute right before that, we had the ball in the back of the net again. Through Alvarez, who gets called offsides for effectively interfering with the keeper, not touching him, but just blocking his vision. And it's like, oh, we needed that goal because then you get the one right after it, immediately right after. And maybe that doesn't happen if we get that goal. But it's like we had the ball in the back of the net twice in that, 2 minute and a half, whatever it was. It's like, oh, that would have put us out of reach. And I understand why they called it back. Again, if it were me and it was reversed, I would want them to call it back because the keeper does kind of hesitate and then kind of try to go because he sees. Yeah. So I understand why they called it back. But in the moment, it's like, oh, if we get both of it. By the time the Rico goal goes in, I'm like, oh, we should be up, 3 at this point? I was like, oh, we're killing them. Let's go. So it sucked to not get it. Not to get both of them, but like you said, congratulations to Rico when he does get that first Premier League goal. So I was afraid they were going to try to call that one off too. So it was like, here we go again. It's just like you can't get the ball in the back of the net and keep it there, but it worked out. So
there was that fear of the if there was a handball, but clearly didn't touch
handball,
Rodri.
or if he was like offside before the kind of ball over the top came through. So
yeah. Now, Crunk, at this point, 2-0. Let's be real. How did you feel about the match? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you believe City was going to keep 3 points at that point? Goal goes in.
I was lit. I was like 4 beers down. I was talking with the bartender and this other old guy about NCAA and NIL. I was just vibes. I was just doing the occasional post, and all of a sudden, I just remember him being like, "Wait, one of those goals got taken away." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I went back to just vibes. I thought we were good, especially against Crystal Palace. It's Roy. They basically are just sitting back, waiting for the chances. They really weren't getting chances. I saw after I thought he was just going to put the young players in and let them run their hearts out. It's Crystal Palace. It's not that scary of a team. Oscar Bob can play against these players, and I don't think he'd be overwhelmed by the talent, at least. I was just expecting them to play the match out. Good vibes.
That by the time we got that goal, I know in my head that nothing is 100%, right? But if you would have asked me, I would have said 99.999 repeating chance that we win this game. There was no doubt in my mind. We were so dominant. They didn't do anything. It was, again, we could have had 3 or 4 if we get those goals to actually go. I have no doubt in my mind that in this, we're going to just continue to run it up. It'll probably be, at that point it was 2. It'll probably be 3 to 4 by the time it's all said and done. And I should have known because we do have a tendency to kind of take our foot off the gas. And so maybe it just ends up 2-0. But you could not have told me. Look, I don't bet. That's Sharpie's thing. I would have bet you almost probably any amount of money that we were going to see that game out. That's how confident I was in that moment.
And for myself, to answer my own question, I was like, oh, my bet's going to cash. We're good, baby. Like, we got it over 1.5. We were going to win. All I was looking was like, oh, Foden just needs a shot on target. He can get that. We're flowing. We got the possession. And it's like, and I saw the bench. And I was like, okay, at the very least, I lose my bet. Foden doesn't shoot. But, like, we have defenders. We have Akanji. We have Stones. We have midfielders and Kovacic and Nunes. So we have people to bring on to get a little bigger than Rico, to add some depth. Who knows? Maybe do a back 5. Who would think you could do that? I don't know. You have 5 center backs. But it was like something can be done to lock this up. And so I was with Tarek 99.9999. And then the rest of the match happens. Like, chaos ensues.
City, it's the first time since 2018 that City gave up a 2-goal lead and ended up not winning since 2018 at home.
First time, 3 winless matches. First time since October 2016, I believe. December 2016. Like, crazy.
It's silly. It makes me miserable. Yeah, I'm thankful. Shout out to the dude who came to the bar with a rot puppy in a laundry basket. It was the cutest little fluffy thing. I walked out of that bar super happy. I was Like, all right, we got the women that play tomorrow, and I just got done cuddling with a puppy for like 15 minutes. Yeah,
So
that's
Tarek, let's get our first take footy on. Out of Walker, Diaz, or Pep, who do you think's most to blame for the I will say the final goal, not the first goal.
Ooh.
No,
I'll
no,
leave
let's
the first
not,
goal
let's
out.
not, let's
Who do you
not,
think is?
let's not
But no,
eliminate the first
I'm
goal
only okay
because the first goal is absolutely Kyle Walker's fault. I'm sitting here
for
I'm
sure.
looking
Yeah,
at what they're saying on goal, right? Mateta pulls one back out of nowhere. Palace are level. Richards plays it long over the top from inside his own half, and Walker just switches off as Schlupp darts past between him and Diaz, plays across through Diaz's leg, boom, gets a goal, right? I'm sitting here watching it, and I don't told you guys I don't like to make notes, but I'm sitting here writing notes because I'm watching it and I'm like, 75th minute goal for Crystal Palace, another clean sheet loss. Walker beat on the initial ball over the top and then never works to get back, just jogging, shake my head. And then I'm like, cue the Killmonger theme, is a meme. Is this your king? Is this our captain? This is Killmonger right here. He's looking at all of us and he's like, is this your captain? Really? This is the best we got to put forward? What is wrong with us? Dude, again, I don't care if you get beat by the ball over the top. You know what? I wouldn't even care if you got beat in a foot race and you just didn't get back. You just couldn't catch up. To not try, to not all out sprint, unless you're telling me, oh, I've got a hamstring or whatever, you should have been busting your butt to get back. And I didn't see that. I saw somebody who's just jogging back who doesn't think that anything can happen. Oh, well, it won't be a problem. So, no, we're not going to go to the second goal because we got to deal with this one. And Walker is at fault for this goal. And I think, to be honest with you, he's going to be at fault for the second goal, too. Doesn't mean that it's all his fault, but he's going to be at fault for that goal, too. Let's just be honest. I'm going to call Walker at fault for both goals.
America's on his Walker tirade the same way I've been on my DS tirade. So I love this energy. I feel it. I understand it. It shifts from player to player. Yes, I would think because here's the thing: I didn't rewatch it because I wasn't rewatching anything that brought me pain. I saw enough sports pain over the weekend, so I
right.
literally haven't seen the replay of to judge effort and pace. So I'm gonna take Terry's word for it. But what I will say is that for me, that goal, the reason I skipped ahead is because that goal happens only because of a perfect pass by Chris Richards, right? Like most defenders mess that pass up. It goes wide, it goes left, it goes too far. But like I think for me, I was like, okay, the goal happens, and it took a perfect cross, a perfect ball across the face of goal through Diaz's legs or whatever to even make it to Mateta, right? Like there was a lot more to be done, and so that's why for me, like that goal isn't nearly as like it was more preventable. I'm sorry, it was less preventable to me than the second goal. I feel like the second goal could have been prevented by a lot of people involved. Phil, Root, Kyle, and for me, I'm gonna say Pep. I think Pep blew this match more than any individual player because he did not use his bench. John Stones didn't come up until like the 85th, 90th minute, and he couldn't even get in before the goal went in because he came up too late. And I just don't know how you sit and watch what's happening and not say, hey, let's shake this shit up. Let's bring on Akanji, Stones, Nunez. Let's just go big. We did it last year. This is how you won Champions League final. You went big. You said, get over us with all of our big people on the pitch. Best of luck to you. But now in the Premier League, you don't want to do it this year. Like you're trying to defend with like Lil Rico out there when you got Nunez who's a horse on the bench, like is a bull. Like you have ways to make this better. You could have taken off Phil Alvarez and brought on Akanji and really just had three center backs, Vardiol on the left and Walk on the right and said, good luck, guys. Because more than likely you're not going to score against us in that position. It was bad management. And same energy that Tarek has for Walker, I'm having that energy for Pep. It feels like I'm back last season when I'm sitting in California watching the same shit. We don't use subs and we lose games or drop points.
So,
And it's fucking annoying.
no, I agree with you. I definitely do not think that Pep is without blame, right? Because in the moment, I'm after the first goal, I'm like, get Walker off, right? So at this point, it doesn't really matter which of these players. There's probably a couple players that should have been brought off at this point. And like you said, if we're gonna, because at this point we're not really trying for goal really at this point. We're just playing for. I got to know 88th minute. We're just kind of playing the old four corners basketball, right? We're just passing the ball around on the perimeter. Nobody's trying to get into the paint. Nobody's trying to get a shot off. We're just holding the ball, passing around before they can foul us because we don't want to stop the clock. We want to keep the clock running. That's all we were trying to do. So if you're going to do that, then make sure you lock it up. Nothing's getting behind us. Nothing. Lock it up. So bring in your substitutions. He's got Stones coming off the bench. To your point, he doesn't get there in time because it's too late. I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to bring Walker off, bring Stones on. He had a Kanji. He could have brought both of those on, locked up that right side. Or he could have brought Stones in for Lewis and then brought a Kanji on for Walker. He could have done a couple different things, right? But to your point, he does none of those things. That's like the only thing you can't do in that moment is not do anything. Yeah, and he
Like
does nothing.
At least
so again, I don't think Pep is without fault, and I don't think that Pep is blameless. But what I don't think that, and again, stop trusting these players. Because I think Pep in his, whether you want to call it loyalty, whether you want to call it trust, whether you want to just call it stubbornness, I don't know. But he's like, they're not going to make this mistake. We've already given up the first goal. We're not going to do it again. Stop trusting them. Take it into your own hands. You're the manager. Bring them off. Don't even give them the chance. Because at the end of the day, if you're slowing down because you're tired, you've been in the game all, and then they start bringing on fresh legs. That's what we used to kill teams with when we would bring Sterling off the bench. It's like, you cannot keep up with that dude if you're tired already. And he's fresh. There's just no hope. So they start bringing in these fresh players, and we're just a step slow. 2 steps slow. And now these gaps start to open up. Goal opportunities start to present themselves. And before you know it, the ball's in the back of the net. So I agree with you that as the manager, Pep is the accountable person, right? He's accountable for what happens on the pitch. But I don't know that he's responsible. I think the players on the pitch are the ones that are responsible. And so he has to make the right decisions, and he has to put the right players on the pitch. But it doesn't matter who he puts on. You got to go out there and execute. And I don't think that our players in those moments executed the way that they should. But yeah, I think there's some blame to be shared for sure.
I mean, Phil Foden kicking a man is crazy. Like, he lost his head.
Well, he had to defend because your man, Kyle Walker, doesn't step up. Again, the ball is played.
Well, here's the thing. You defend as a team. Everybody defends. Jack
No,
back all the time and
absolutely
doesn't
you
get
defend
yellow
as a
cards
team.
or,
Absolutely. But when I'm standing 5 feet, or when I'm standing like 3 feet from the ball, and you're standing 10, or let's say 7, right? I'm 3, you're 7. I don't expect you to have to get to the ball before me. And so when I don't go, because I sit there and I watch the ball roll in the box, and then no one wants the ball to be loose in the box, so he runs over to try to help. Yeah, he makes the wrong play. He kicks that man in the box. I don't know that it's losing his head or as much as he's defending in positions that he's not accustomed to defending in. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, if Kyle Walker, who is the right-sided defender in this position, if he gets the ball out of there, which he is in position to be able to do, but he doesn't react, then this doesn't happen. But because he stands there and looks, again, because he doesn't think that there's really any danger at all. Just like he didn't think there was any danger in the first one, so he didn't sprint back, and then we get hit. He sits there watching the ball be loose in the box and just doesn't think anything's going to happen. And so someone else responds. I don't know what you do for that when he's the captain. Again, I can blame Pep for saying, well, why was Foden or whoever, whatever you want to say, but Pep wasn't the one who watched the ball roll in the box. That wasn't Pep. That's your boy.
See, this is an interesting, like, this is where you have a diversion of thought, which is great because that's the beauty of Shades of Blue. We have shades of thought. because, and Hassan brought this up, for those of you who haven't listened, please go listen to our episode with Hassan, Chronicles episode 2.
Don't tell him
He was
too
talking
much. Make
about
him
this,
go over
the
there.
role of, no, but the captain is infallible. Same thing you're saying, right? Because he's the captain, he, like, captain or no captain, right? I don't care who's the captain. I just want the play to be made. I don't think that makes you have to be better than normal or puts you on a different pedestal. Because I never thought, oh, Gundo's the captain. He's the one that has to save us. He just happened to be clutch. Or like Fernandinho was the captain. He wasn't perfect that season. He was old and slow and just happened to, give his best.
I
So like
expect you
the
to
captain thing
lead.
is one thing, but I mean, yes, leadership, and you want to make every play, of course. But what I would say is this: the same way you brought up that play where it wasn't a goal, but you had a beautiful display of talent by
Vario, yep.
Guardiola. I think we also, before this moment, we had a play, a small kick that changed everything. If you remember, Ederson goes to clear the ball, and we have been trying to play it out of the back, but it's clearly a point where it's like, hey, hoof it down the pitch, let's reset the defense, move the lines up, make them break us down. And the clearance was so bad, it goes off to the left towards the benches. And Pep, you see him in the technical area, put his hands over his face, like, what are you doing? Like, why would you kick it out there instead of just further down to make them chase and go get it and allow us to reset? And it's like, that kept the ball in their half because they weren't progressing against us. They just finally did it, like, at the very, very end. It's in stoppage time. And I just think, like, there was a lack of the same way that Grealish and Holland made mincemeat of people last year when we had a lead, right? You knew those two were going in the corner. Thick calves, tall man, and nobody's getting off of them. We're going to waste time, win the match. You don't have that because Holland's hurt, right? You don't have that target man up top. So I think now players are like, wait, what do we do? Okay, we play it out. But in certain moments, like you say, you have to adapt to the situation. This isn't about playing it out and being pretty. You got to just get it down and just let the time go. And we were so close to stoppage time being over. I think it was like the final minute of stoppage time that the goal happens. And it's just like, it's deflating because like, okay, it's another draw. This is at home. So yes, we're still unbeaten at home, but it's still like dropping points, which sucks. And this is after Luton scored to make it competitive. They scored in the first half last week when we think that's going to be a runaway game. So this poor dip in form, it makes you have to reevaluate, like, where are we in the season? What can be changed? And then, how much time is left? And so we know we have a lot of time, and we know we have a bunch of players that are out. Like three of our top six. No, I would say three of our top four attackers, and Haaland, Doku, and KDB were not in this match. And obviously one of them, and KDB, has not played at all, except for the first match. So, like, we have so much room for growth, but it sucks in the moment because you're losing matches that you are supposed to win. This isn't us getting beat like we did at Aston Villa. I can take that L. That's an L. They outplayed us, whatever. But when you lose a lead, it's a collective failure. And yes, Walker may be the highlight. The same way I can get on Diaz a lot for the other stuff. He wasn't the only one missing defensive assignments, right? Ake messed up. Everybody messes up when you're giving up this many goals in a short amount of time. And, like, it's just time to, like, figure it out. Like, there's no room for error anymore. You don't want to go down 8 points. Even though you can do it and come back, we don't need that stress. Like, it's time to win some matches. We got a little luck this weekend. Thanks United, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, we have to take care of our business. And the fact that we aren't, I hope the captain is out there, like, taking it, saying, hey, it was me. He owns it the same way he did when he made the Sheffield mistake, right? He owned it. He got back. It happened. I hope the next time we see him, whenever it is, he's defending his ass off like when he shut down Vinny and Coman. Like,
But I think,
that
I agree with you. I hope that too. And I think the only way that happens is there has to be the possibility of a benching, right? If you don't feel like you have to compete for your spot, you can have a little dip and it's okay. I don't think it should be okay. And I think right now, there's no one that can play in that right side because he's not playing Lewis there consistently, and Stones has been hurt, right? So unless you're going to
I think Akanji
but
can
he
do
hasn't been playing him there. He's been letting Walker play all game, every game. And so there's no risk to Walker of not playing. And it allows him to be just a step slow, a step, whatever. And I think I think that's not just Walker. I think anybody that doesn't have to compete for their spot runs the risk of being complacent. And we've allowed this man to feel like I'm going to play all the time because he has. And that's a problem.
I'm not gonna go to a mentality thing of like complacency. I think mistakes happen,
And
just the
maybe
same
he's
way like
tired.
Holland, right?
Maybe he's
Hold on,
tired.
let me say
But
this.
again, that means he needs
Fair,
to be on the
maybe, but
bench.
no, I agree with the bench and I agree with the rotation in the position. But I'm saying like the same way early in the season when Holland's missing chances he made last year, nobody's like bench Holland, he's out of form. It's like no, you keep playing, you keep doing what you do, you are gonna start. Like there are Ederson when he's fit, he starts. Like there are 3 to 4 players. If they are fit, they are
And I
playing.
would agree with that.
And
And
to
I
your
would
point,
not include
there should be rotation. Yeah.
Walker in that mix.
Okay, well,
Holland,
I get that's
yeah,
the point, right?
Holland.
But
Maybe KDB when he's back. Ederson.
Rodri, those 4.
Those are the 4. Anybody else?
Yeah.
And quite honestly,
even
KDB's at an age now where he's not going to be on that list much longer. If he is still.
I mean, yeah. But even to this point, right? You can't act like Kyle Walker isn't the best fullback we have. Like there's
And
a
that's
gap.
a
Like
failure
that is
on
the
our
one area of our squad where we're
That's
low.
a failure on.
But so, I get that, but
and I don't know that.
it's also like
yes, because Rico Lewis was keeping that man on the bench last season, playing
a different role. He wasn't playing on the side.
So
that's when he was
there's
moving
at
in,
least something
and
that
was the
Pep
role, right?
saw
When he was
that
moving
kept
from
Walker on the
fullback
bench.
into midfield, and then he switched it from center back to midfield to keep that defender. So like Rico did do great, but Rico can't do what Cal does. Like he can't defend 1-on-1. And yes, Cal had mistakes, but the same way he's not going to drop Ruben Diaz, he's still playing him through his mistakes. And we've seen that man get dunked on 4 times this year. Like you can drop everybody. We have the people to do it, but then what message does that send? A message of panic to the squad? If all of a sudden you come out and you drop Kyle, if you drop Kyle and what's his name? You drop Kyle and Ruben because of bad form. It's like wait, that's half of our back line. What do we do? So I feel like we're in a touch and go position where the players just have to play better, but Pep has to also help them out. Give more defensive support. You can have 6 defenders on the pit and just see a match out. That's not crazy. We're not saying do it for 90 minutes. We're saying do it for the last.
So
and that's where I think the manager.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that completely, and I'm going to let this go. But one of the things that was on our sheet for Asan, we never got to. Everybody's fit. What is our preferred lineup? Part of me, now again, this is in the moment, right? So I recognize that. I would rather have Akanji outright than I would Walker at this point in time.
That's fair.
Is that just like for further notice or just for a couple of games so we can get that rest?
I mean, for me, right now, I'd say I'd probably go for until further notice. Now, again, that doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. It just means that I think if we give Akanji a run in that right, again, he's been playing all over. It's not like he's not been playing. He's been playing. He's been playing in midfield, trying to cover for Stones. I think you let Stones do that role. You put him back out on the right side, and I'm not going to say all of our problems magically disappear, but they might.
All right. Well, do a quick shock off.
Can I just say one more thing?
Pause.
I wrote down on my sheet.
Oh, please.
I was like, another draw. I was like, we got more draws, like draw 2, draw 4. It's like, this sounds like a Uno game. It's like, what is going on? We just keep dropping points. It's like, we got to be better, man. Got to be better.
I hate this. We need more winning. I'm tired of being miserable and being upset and coming at manager for being. Yeah, go for it.
But as bad as we've been playing, as frustrating as it is, as angry as I was in the moment, I still don't think that we're out of it or that the season's over or that we guarantee we're not going to win it. I think there's still a chance. So, I mean, it's frustrating. And I think that's even more the story when we do come back and we end up winning and everybody's already written us off in the first half of the season. And then how the story is going to change and how everyone's going to say, oh, now that, cities, they're too strong, they're too much money, too much this, too much that. When they're not saying that right now because we're not winning. but the story will change because we will get back to winning ways. I do believe that. I still believe that, and then
Yeah.
it'll go from there. But it feels bad in the moment, and I think, like I said, I think a lot of people are writing us off too soon. But they'll learn soon enough, or maybe they won't because they didn't learn last year. So whatever.
Yeah. There are a lot of names on X that were saying straight out, City aren't winning any trophies, and I don't even think that was just them being reactionary because they are I believe them to be like mindful, logical people, and it was like one said it, and then the other one quote posted. It was like I agree, and I was like, whoa, is this really where we're at? And then Hassan again said, hey, I'm tapped in. All the Manx I know, they're boiling hot. That really does seem to be the sentiment. I can't believe we're the ones over here saying calm down. I just really never would expect it, especially after this last season. I really thought that it was good. It's going to be good, and the vibes are going to be great, and you'd still be laughing at parade photos. It's just generally not the energy. It's crazy.
I mean, back-to-back years, we walked down Liverpool in our first season on this show. Last season, we walked down Arsenal. Like, we know the proof is in the pudding. And until we get a fully healthy squad and we don't produce, then I will not, until that moment, I can't be like, okay, we are at a crisis, and our crisis being top 4 and not top 2, right? Like, that's our crisis level
Right?
now, not being second or first. So it's like, please have some calma. Please do a little tranquillo. As the homie says, touch grass. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, we are still, like, look at it. Arsenal, I mean, we get to, I'm sorry, I'll let you go to Premier League shots, odds, and applause, because that's a whole thing to talk about. You got it.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of myself.
No, you're good.
Wow!
Shop all Premier League applause. Arsenal first, Pool second, Aston Villa third, fourth City fifth, Tottenham sixth, Newcastle 7, Man United. You know who's at relegation station. Luton Town, Burnley, Sheffield. They all lost firmly in relegation. Nottingham, the club right outside of relegation. They have a 5-point lead on Luton. Luton only has 9 points. I think they're good.
Yeah.
Let me
3 up, 3 down. 100%.
My applause, real quick, is for Rebecca Welch, who became the first woman to ref a Premier League match, and Uriah Rennie, who was the first black ref to lead a match in 15 years. We saw it for decades with black quarterbacks, where people would say, you just need a certain eye and a brain for the position. They're like, it's probably very similar energy for the refing in England. Sure, it's good to see progress is happening, but make sure that they're back on the schedule soon, not another 15 years. Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm going to give it up to United, man. They helped us, and ETH put off a Mourinho level, like, masterclass. Like, the team defended their ass off. I think Liverpool had 32 shots, no goals. Like, if you go into a hostile territory, your back's against the wall. You just got, embarrassed in Champions League. You just lost to Bournemouth 3-0. And you say, look, we are going to get this point. A goal would be great, but they will not score on us. And you bring in Varane, who plays well, who gets all the clearances. Onana has the second most saves of any United keeper at Anfield without conceding a goal. I think he had like 9 saves. The highest would be like De Gea with 11. Like, that was a great performance, and it helped us. Because if Liverpool gets those 2 points instead of a 5-point gap, now we're at a 7-point gap, which again, not impossible, but just another match that they need to drop. And so I'm grateful, and I'm impressed with the way United played. What you got there?
I was gonna laugh at United's fans because they were out here celebrating on Twitter, out there celebrating getting this draw like they had won the league or something. It's like, oh, we didn't give up. It was a scoreless draw. And again, you got battered. 32 shots. Is that what you said? They got battered up and down the pitch. The ball didn't go in the back of the net. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was like you said, it was a masterful parking of the bus. It was, absolute masterclass. But as a fan, how far they have fallen that we just want to get a draw. Really, you came into this game thinking all we wanted was a draw. So I think that's worth laughing at. So that's me.
I mean, they go from giving up 7 goals last year at Anfield to giving up 0.
Yeah, but
So for
again,
them, that's a 700%.
but I would say the same thing that is this what United have fallen to? Yeah, the answer is yes. But it's like, really? This is what y'all do? Who does that? I mean, again, if Burnley at the bottom, I would see them like, let's just defend for our lives. Just hold on. Okay, I would expect that from Burnley, and they would be celebrating because any point would be a good point for them. But United, the so-called self-professed biggest team in Europe, or biggest team in England at least, really? This is what y'all do? Nah, man. That's shameful.
Treat them as the top 8 side they are, and not the top 4 side. Like, that's how I see them.
And
that
is why I didn't criticize the team. I criticized the fans
for sure.
who keep telling me about their history.
Yeah.
Who keep telling me about history. Well, yeah, you parked all your history right there on that pitch to try to keep out the goal. And to your credit, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. Somebody, they put Nathaniel Klein's big butt out there and kept the ball out the back of the net. It's all.
That's what they needed. That dump truck. Need that. That's good.
Favorite blue baddies. Before I get into them, because we'll do this slow. Let's quick predictions for this Club World Cup. Are we winning this? We winning the whole thing?
Yes.
We should, but I mean, have you watched any of our last couple games? There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees in this thing. I'm gonna say, like I said earlier, 99.999%. But I know better than to say 100.
That's all you can do. I'll take that. I'll take us winning both matches and having a new trophy to add to, our 5th trophy holding at the same time, which would be dope.
I agree. Baby blue baddies. They handled their stuff against Everton. Great 4-1 win. Gareth was asked about the long break. He said, normally I'm the person who likes lots of matches, but at this moment, because I sense we're going to be bringing in some more teams in the future, it might be similar to the men's where we're playing a bunch of games. Let's take this break while we got it. I'm going to like it. He was then asked about Roebuck. He said, to paraphrase, we have goals at Man City to be the best squad, to win as many trophies. Injuries happen, and the club has to be prepared for anything. Roebuck is training hard, and her energy is great. She's not going anywhere. That's basically what he said. At least that's how I felt. I was like, oh, all right then, interesting. No new news about the hip extension, except for he did say that City has offered a new, really good offer.
I need that.
Game started, right? The game started. The Baby Blue Baddies came off the blocks a little slow. Could have expected Everton maybe to come pressing out like Hellcats, except for the trigger only seemed to be when City would recycle back. That's when Everton would seem to try to do the press. City women did a great job eventually, but they struggled. Everton, with their own chance to score 5 minutes into the match, a corner kick for Everton. Kasperise did a great job at getting in front of the ball. She got tons of air. It looked like she was going to power the ball away. She flicked it behind her in front of goal. Bounced off of an Everton player's foot. And then, my girl, Piemonte, she headed the ball directly at Keating. I was very worried, especially after I showed her love during the kickoff show. And I was like, 5 minutes in, she's about to score on us. Thankfully, she didn't. But it was. After that moment, it seemed to be the kick in the ass that the ladies needed because their whole energy changed. They were very intense. The pressing wasn't great. You could hear Gareth yelling and screaming. You could hear the Manchester City Women's Supporting Club banging that drum and making their chants. The energy, you really could feel it. It was great. Him earns a penalty, getting tackled in the box. Bunny steps up. It's Bunny. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Ha, joke's on me. Keeper knew exactly where she was going. It had to, because if you watch the PK, Everton's keeper, Brosnan, is jumping right way before Bunny even makes contact with the ball. Sharpie, when Bunny was unsuccessful in that penalty kick, were you worried that that could have changed the momentum and we could be in a tough spot?
Not a tough spot, but maybe not a goal fest, right? I'm like, oh, if we don't get this early goal, we might go a while, maybe only get one before half, or maybe scoreless again at half, but still dominate possession. So, like, you start to have those doubts, but I still thought we would win. It just, you wanted to see that goal go in. And, Bunny said, ha ha ha, just you wait.
Right? 40 seconds later, ha ha ha, Wahhabi just clips the ball to Shaw in open space. That's really all it was. It's like, hey, here's some open
Crystal Palace
space.
goal.
See what you can do. Exactly. When Khadijah stepped up to the ball, she noticed the keeper was way off her line. Tiger Woods, y'all. Chip the bish over the keeper into the net. What penalty kick? Baddies are up 1-0, 9 minutes into the match. What a difference a minute can make.
Using her left foot, too,
Man,
which is crazy. As a
right?
right-footed player, like
Right?
that technique, exceptional. Like if that was Holland, it would be all over match of the day. It'd be everywhere. Like Bunny deserves a lot of love for that goal.
Yeah. For the next 15 minutes, the match was all over the place. Everton had a go at our ladies for a couple of minutes. Sharpie, you noticed and said that you saw CK. She had her shooting boots on. What did you mean by that, and why were, I guess, you happy to see it?
I love wingers who shoot at the goal. You aren't going to make a lot of them, but if you put that fear into the defense, now they have something to think about. Versus if you just get the ball, recycle it, which is all important. We know you need to keep possession. But when you say, you know what, I'm going to get my shot off and shoot. And so just to see her take those chances, and yes, they went directly, they were on target, they weren't perfectly placed, but I just felt like that's the attacking mindset that makes the defense go on their heels. Because now that fullback is like, oh gosh, he's going to go in. So you're really setting up your counter move to go to the byline because you've come in and shot early. So I think it just opens up the pitch for an attacker. And like, I want Grealish to do that. Like the way Daku does. Daku said, I don't give a fuck. I'm here, I'm shooting, bro. Like, you're going to get these shots. I want Grealish to have that same mindset because you need it.
After a while, Bunny said enough was enough. Give me the ball, and I will take you to the promised land. Yui, again, she had so many beautiful passes, key passes that are just a straight up assist for a goal. Got the ball to Bunny, who turned to find enough space, and I thought it was like a snapshot. Like she just, nope, because when the keeper got there in time, great anticipation again, just went right through her gloves. Beautiful. City 2-0. Gerard, a couple minutes later, makes it 3-0, thanks to Chloe Kelly, putting a sumptuous trailing low cross for Roar to slide into the goal. 3-0 is how the first half ended. Would be wrong if I didn't admit Everton did have a couple of crazy chances that clanged off the goalpost. Sharpie, we both liked the 3-0 win. City women are there already at the 3-0. Were you expecting 2 or 3 more goals in the second half?
I wasn't expecting it as much as just hoping, right? You hope you see that number go up to 4, 5, 6, 6. But I was happy with the 3-0. If you go up 3-0 and you see the match out 3-0, that's great for me. So I just like, job done here. Let's make sure that we can everybody leave healthy. And that was my biggest concern as we went into the second half.
The match was back on. There were 2 more goals in the match. Gole, Everton took a wild swing at a ball, connecting with it perfectly. The ball soars past Keating, who is at full stretch
Great hit. Golazo.
Another, yeah, just great hit. Yeah. Bunny completed her perfect hat trick, left foot, right foot header. Queenwood delivers the perfect in swing cross.
Captain.
Oh my goodness. Like all Bunny had to do was just get her head on the ball, not aiming at the keeper. She did both. Bunny is the league leader in goals and has her own new record, a hat trick of hat tricks in the calendar year. Never been done before in the WSL until today. Match ends 4-1. It was a great match. I have a clip from Miss 100 Appearances herself, Laura Coons. Like last time. She was so sweet. She was just like, "Oh, I didn't even know that it was my 100th appearance." Basically, they told me before the match started. But she was very happy to see that the play that they were able to play with great intensity and focus. They started off not the best, but they straightened out. What I love to hear, because especially with Tarek's Kyle Walker take about complacency and maybe he's not having to compete, she said the opposite. Practices are great because everyone thinks they can start any match, and that just has everyone playing super intense, having a lot of fun. She and that's what it looks like. It looks like Team A and Team B in training. I would love to watch the training. I would love to watch the drills that they're playing against each other. I'm sure that is intense and heated, and it goes back and forth.
I want to go back to something you said about Bunny leading the WSL. We know she had a lead last season, right? And she got walked down for the
Mm-hmm.
Golden Boot. Rachel Daly had an amazing campaign. But if we go back to the start of this season, my biggest thing was like the others have to contribute. And so Bunny has 9 goals,
Mm-hmm.
but look at who's right behind her. Third in the WSL is Jill Ward with her 6. Fourth, you have Lauren Hemp with 5. I'm sorry. Yeah, Lauren Hemp has 5. And then a big tie for fifth, you have, oh no, I'm sorry, one less than that. You have Chloe Kelly at 3. So you have a total of 14 goals compared to Bunny's 9. Last season, you didn't get that. It was either all Bunny or nothing almost. And I feel like that
Mm-hmm.
balance and the attack coming from all angles, that's what's giving City this run that they're on, where they've won 3 in a row now, going into the new year. And I'm excited to see, because think about it, Jill Ward has more goals than these names: Alessia Russo, Sam Kerr, and Rachel Daly. And if you tell me that our second best goal scorer is over the top strikers from our other 3 rivals, I'll take that any day. So kudos to the whole attacking unit and that front four, because the sitters, as the holding midfielders, are Coombs and Hasagawa, and they're tearing stuff up, moving up the pitch, and all 4 of them are contributing almost every match. Like him draws a penalty, Kelly gets an assist, Roar gets a goal, Bunny gets a hat trick. Like everybody's doing their part, and this is why you have now a true second place team where we control our fate and even control our fate for the title because we get the reverse fixture against Chelsea. So things are looking great over at the Joy Academy, Joy Stadium.
Love it. Love it. The final bit of news for them. Well, first off, we're in second place now, well above, I want to say, 5 goals ahead of Arsenal,
Yep.
but only 2 goals behind Chelsea in goal difference. If there ends up being a tiebreaker, they could end up being very close. So it's going to be unfortunate. There are going to be some clubs we're just going to have to run it up on you guys later this season. I apologize, but it's what it's. And then the FA Cup draw happened. City women will be going north to play Durham, who are 6th in WSL2. They have a 5-2-5 record with a -8 goal difference. The reason why they have the -8 goal difference is because they got smacked by Crystal Palace 9-1, who is in 4th place in WSL2.
So going back to the league, so everybody's played 10 matches. The next match is a bit of a break. Next match is not until January, it looks like.
Yeah,
That
31
week,
Cortez.
Chelsea, who is in first place, has a match against United, who is in fourth. City, who's in second, are at home against Liverpool, who's in fifth. Arsenal in third is up against Everton in seventh. So it's some decent matchups, kind of top half of the table matchups, right when we come back from the break. It'll be interesting to see which teams come back and are dragging a little bit because they've been away for a while or whatever, versus who comes back ready to play, raring to go. Because again, if we go and we beat Liverpool, and let's say Chelsea and United get a draw, or Chelsea were to lose, I mean, that could be all we need to potentially win the title. Because again, you got to play the season out. But it's been those one or two games is the difference in the season. So if we can we have to go out, we have to beat Liverpool, and then just hope to get some results to go our way, which in some cases they have this season, right? We've seen other teams losing games that maybe they shouldn't lose or whatever. We didn't expect them to lose. So I want to see them win the league again. And of course we want to get them into
Let's go. Champions
WCL,
League without any nonsense.
So, we'll see. I'm with you, though. I like that 5-point goal differential to keep us in second place. Even if, God forbid, we don't pull it out, we want to establish ourselves in that second spot. Did they change up the WSL rules or who gets in this year or no? I know that was some conversation, I think.
I don't think they spent. I haven't been. I can't tell you about the Smith, honestly.
Okay.
I know the men have their big
all
one
right.
coming next season, but yeah.
So for us, we still want to be at least in that second spot, so we don't have to worry about a playoff.
Oh, I think
yeah. The only thing that's
third, right? Third will make it based on the coefficient. Is that what Tom was saying earlier?
Okay.
Yeah. So top 3 is safe. Top 2 is guaranteed.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's be in that top 2 for sure.
And they have the new formats where it's just the Swiss league. It's a Swiss format, just like the men's, where everybody's in this giant bracket and you just play 6 random teams, 3 at home and 3 on the road.
I want to make a point about the women's defense because it's literally the polar opposite of the men. Right now, they have scored 26 and only conceded 7. So that 26 puts them 6 behind Chelsea. That 7 is the best defense by 3 goals ahead of Arsenal. And the only match they've given up more than 1 goal was the 2-1 loss to Arsenal. And so, like, when you see, and this was without Kennedy today, right? Like, but when you see Wahhabi, Alexandri, Greenwood, Kasparov in this case, like, whoever is on the pitch, the defense locks up, and the holding mids are doing their part, right? It's a collective. And I think the men hopefully can watch some footage of this and go, oh, we all have to defend. Let's all do our parts. All be where we're supposed to be. If Galasso beats us, so be it. But it can't be breakdowns that are leading to goals. And that's what didn't happen this match. We have some chances, of course, because you're always going to have those. But there was never like a goal where it's like, damn, really, we conceded that silly goal. So just credit to the women for being on it, and they're about to make a push, man. They see a trophy, and I like that. I can tell that they're ready. They went through the heartbreak last year, fell down a little bit at the end, but I think this year they're ready. They learned.
Yes, sir. That is our episode. This Thursday, the most dangerous show about football. Matthew, aka Comets SC, Liz Schendel, and Tony M will be our guests. Tap into that. Tuesday, Club World Cup watch along with Vader Games, Mike, and Harong. It's gonna be a good time.
What time is that match?
Midday. It's 11:45 Central Time.
Yeah, 1 p.m. kickoff Eastern. Yeah. On Tuesday and Friday.
And I actually have to work on Friday. A person left, and I volunteered to pick up a shift, and I didn't think about the finals. And after I said yes, I like the schedule, and I was like, I'm a big dumb.
Friday's the first day of our
So
winter break, so I'm trying to start off break with a trophy. Go to the movies that day, see the Iron Claw. Shout out to my wrestling fans. Gonna be an incredible film.
yay.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go see it as
gonna be a
well.
beautiful weekend.
I haven't been in the movie theaters in years, and I've been wanting to go, and I need an excuse. And a good old wrestling movie is right up my alley.
Let's get it.
All right, Sharpie, Tarek, you want to let people know where to find you so we can get out of here?
Twitter.com or the X app if you're on your phone at Sharpie Charlie.
You can hit me up on Twitter at Tarek Peterson. You can find me there, or on Threads. On Threads at the same spot at Tarek Peterson.
And EU is finally on Threads, so England, Germany, all footy Twitter is for real on Threads now. So it's picking up. It's starting to become real fun. I'm enjoying that. And shout out to Hollywood Kipax. It's a Man City podcast down there in the California area. I am joining them, honestly, in 20 minutes after we get done with this for a Club World Cup episode that they are recording. So shout out to them. That episode will be dropping. If you guys haven't given them a listen, give them a listen. There's some fun. They're definitely some like SoCal dudes. You hear them talk, you're like, yeah, y'all in California. It's fun. I'm Prunk Chocolate on all socials at Shades of Blue US, Shades of Blue Pod. We're on all of the socials. If you have it, it's out there. Look for us. You'll find us. You know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.